of 95% of startup businesses fail within their first 5 years. And the reason they fail is because of the people, how the people around that business, the community around that business treat or take care of that business. So, and it always say, experience is the best teacher. Sometimes it's not a good idea to learn from your own experience because it's very expensive. It is very expensive to learn from your own failures. And so you are supposed to learn from the failures of other people so that you don't do the same. In my call, I will talk about two things or to two people. The two people I will talk to, one is the community that you are in, where myself is included. And two is yourself as the founders of this business. So, and to do that, I'll start with a story of what I have been doing in the last few years. And this is to the community. 2013 or 2012, I started one of the companies that almost became successful. But unfortunately, because of the circumstances around it, it did not succeed. I did not have people to learn from when I started People's Technical Institute in South Sudan. And People's Technical Institute was aimed at providing training and technology back home. I won't go into all the details, but what I found out after that were two things. One is check how you plan your things. Two, check who you have on your team. And three, do you have a mentor? And that brings me to a story of 23 elephants, male elephants to be exact, that were taken to a zoo. Few years down the line, those elephants start being naughty. Every one of them was just going crazy. So the scientists or the zoologists wondered what happened. These elephants are not behaving exactly like an elephant should be. So a study was commissioned, and it was found out that those elephants were at one point in another zoo, and they were picked out and moved to the new zoo, and all of them were young cow when they were moved. So none of them was mature enough to know how elephants behave. So by the time they got to the new zoo, they grew. And one day when they turned into teenagers, one of the elephants decided to act out. You know what teenagers do. And all the other elephants thought that that was the right way to do things. So they all acted out. And the simplest solution the scientists came up with was, let's go and get a mature elephant to add to the zoo. So they went and got two more elephants, one female and one male. And those two came in, set the tone. After 5 months, all the elephants behave exactly like elephants should be. In business, that is a critical thing. When you're starting a business as an individual, you have to look out to examples. When I started Target Mining Resources, I did not do it myself. I had 3 other people plus myself. And as time go by, I got to a point whereby I know I cannot be just the one of the 23 elephants. I needed a guide. I needed someone to look up to. So I went through the community and I found a couple of them. One of them was a gentleman from Ghana called Peter Young. And Peter Young became my mentor. I picked him because of the first meeting that I had with him. He asked me a question, and I want you to write this question down. Or you can come back and watch it. The question is, how many apples are in one apple seed? How many apples are in one apple seed? And the answer is simple. It's up to you. It depends on you. Depends on the farmer. If you want many seeds or many apples from one apple seed, then you have to plant it. After planting, you have to water it. Keep it from being choked by weeds. Make sure you tend to it so that the animals do not destroy it, and guide it until it bears fruits. And that is how you get many apples from one apple seed. But if you don't, chances are you may lock it up in a container until the end of time. So the first thing in business is to start. Do not wait. Start a business. Second thing is water it. Get yourself a team that does what you want to achieve, a team that thinks the same as yourself. And from there, you will. So myself, now I have a team. I want you to have a team too. So after getting your call, your message or call. The second thing I did was to make a call. So I made a call to Peter Young, my mentor. And I asked him, or actually I did not ask, I told him that I have volunteered you to be a mentor to these girls. And Peter Young has graciously accepted to be a mentor of the U10 for 1 year. Okay? And it's to provide that part of the community. Now, going back to a lot of things that I don't want to preempt, because Peter Young will definitely be in touch with you and he will pour out his wisdom. So I will not really go into what you need to do and what you need, but think of it this way. If you think of any successful sportman or sportwoman, there is none of them that has no manager. There's none of them that has no coach. In business, mentors are coaches. So work toward that and you shall definitely see the next page of your business. Now, let me talk to the community. In the world, there are communities that are called successful communities. And when we talk of communities that are successful, they are the ones that drive the world. So I don't know if you know any community that is successful. One of those, in my mind, I may be wrong, but one community that I know that is very, very successful is the Jewish community. There is nowhere on the planet Earth that you will go and get a Jewish community that is not successful. How do they make it? They have the same 24 hours a day like each of us. They rained on by the same rain. Actually, fortunately or unfortunately, Israel is actually a desert. But that does not deter them from being the food supply country in the Middle East. They produce more food in Israel than South Sudan and Kenya and Ethiopia combined. How do they make it? That will be the next point. When they go, an Israeli will come anywhere, settle, and after 5 years, they have a business running. How do they make it? So that is one community. The second community is the Indian community. And the third is the Ethiopian community. These communities, when it comes to success, when it comes to union of businesses, they do well more than any other community. And then Somali follow them, and then the rest of us, the rest of the wide world. So a few years ago, as I decided to gain interest in how to succeed, I decided to be, one of the things that people ignore is once you set up in one religion, you don't want to touch any other religion on earth, because those one are called satanic. So being a Muslim, you don't want to touch anything. Being a Christian, you don't want to look at the other religions. So allow me to be spiritual for 1 minute. The reason why the Israelite or the Jewish community are very successful is grounded in their beliefs. And the beliefs is that when they pray, they don't ask God to give them something. They do not ask God to give them something. They ask God, how can I help? When you ask to be given something, you have to wait to receive. But when you ask for what to do, if that person does not come back to you, you will think of other ways to do what you want to do anyway. So their belief is that any business must be anchored in problem solving. If your business does not solve a problem, you do not have a business. And the problem must be solved so that those that have that problem benefits. But then, if those people are also not aware, or they don't like because you are the one, then they're not gonna do it. They're not going to take up the services, so they will not benefit from it, and they will not build that services. And that's why sometimes cheap things do not prosper. When we started our business here in Australia, it was the best non-profit organization that we could create. The idea itself was not for profit. But we realized that if we make it not for profit, each of us will go look for money, and no one will pay attention to that. So we will all go and look for our own, and we will not have a chance to provide the services that we want to provide voluntarily. But because it was critical, it also built into our passion for helping. That's why we created it into a business. So that in a way, we're providing the services that impact on the life of people, but at the same time, we're paying our bills. So when the first person that we actually recruited, I always say this because he has given me a permission to share. Okay, the first person we helped was a gentleman from Brazil, and that gentleman came to Australia in 2019. When he came, this gentleman was 20 odd years as a mechanical engineer, specializing in fluid mechanics. Come to Australia, COVID-19 hits. He's locked out with his wife and a young daughter. Locked out, can't leave Australia. At the same time, cannot get a job in Australia because he does not have local experience. So when I got to meet him through a connection, I asked him to do A, B, C, D, and when he finished doing those, I gave him his first job. 3 months down the line, remember, I gave him a job and I did not even know where the contract was going to come from. But thankfully, within a week from the time he joined, we got a contract and he moved on, work on that contract. 3 months down the line, I got a telephone call from our city of Kalgoorlie. And the guy on the other side was asking me that, oh, by the way, I think you have what I want. And I asked, what do you want? And he said the name of the person that he heard that guy is a mechanical engineer, specialized in fluid mechanic, and they need someone with that skills to fill a position. And so I asked him, so what are you going to offer him? And he said, we're offering him a permanent residence in Australia. I said, it's all yours. That guy moved on. And to date, we're now going to 3 years. Every time there's a birthday party in the family, I'm always invited. So if you want a way to get a free food, help somebody. Okay, help somebody. If you need to get, my favorite part is now the number has increased. Of course, the number of people that have benefited from the program has increased. And every time I meet any of them, the way they introduce me to their special one, either their relatives or their partners, or makes me feel better. And for those who are in medical science, there's this chemical called dopamine in the body. When you feel good, you feel healthy, and you feel happy. That is a benefit that cannot be substituted for anything. But assuming this gentleman did not take the services that we were offering, we would have not helped him. Probably the relationship that we have now might have not been there. So as a community, coming back to the community, is you have to use the services. You have to give the support where it is due. Because the same services, if you don't use them, there will be a time when the person providing those services will see no need and suspend those services. And if they are suspended, there will be another time you may really want to, but they are no longer there. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the difference between the successful communities and the failed one. We've been a failed community in business for years, and this is the time for U-turn. Thank you very much.